that volunteered from over 8 secondary schools across the island. The motion laid is seeking support for Tobago Day to become a national holiday to reflect on the island's internal autonomy. The students and alumni have been practicing for over the past 4 weeks. As your youth presiding officer, I would like to invite you to support the youth by viewing us on Tobago Channel 5 or Facebook Live. See you there. The 11th Annual Secondary Schools Youth Assembly will be held on Thursday, 30th November from 10 a.m. The sitting is part of the Tobago Day celebration marking the reconstitution.
Let us now pray. Almighty God, as we have come together to begin our meeting of the Assembly, we humbly beseech you to grant to all our members the light and guidance of your Holy Spirit, that we may wisely take counsel together and come to such decisions as shall promote your glory and the well-being of all our citizens in this our land, so that peace and happiness, truth and justice may be enjoyed by all people. Grant this for the sake of Jesus Christ, our Lord. Amen.
Oath of allegiance of a new member. Announcements by the presiding officer. Assembly bills sent back from Cabinet. Assembly laws brought back from Parliament. Petitions. Papers, presentation of reports from Dispute Resolution Commission, select committees, Chief Secretary's question, questions to secretaries, questions for oral answers, requests for leave to move the adjournment of the Assembly on definite matters of urgent public importance, statements by secretaries or assistant secretaries, personal explanations, introduction of bills, motions relating to the business or sittings of the Assembly and moved by a secretary or assistant secretary. Public business. Executive business. Motion.
Mover of the motion.
Madam Presiding Officer, I beg to move the following motion in my name. Whereas the celebrations that mark the inauguration of the reconstituted Tobago House of Assembly took place on December 4th, 1980. And whereas a motion was later carried in the House to celebrate the inauguration as Assembly Day. And whereas the name was changed to Tobago Day to represent the true importance of it being a celebration for the entire island. And whereas the celebration remains relevant today, be it resolved that Tobago Day be made a national holiday to reflect the importance of the island's eternal autonomy. Madam Presiding Officer, today I would like to enhance the knowledge of the minority members. Okay. Madam Presiding Officer, today I would like to enhance the knowledge of the minority members. According to Sabine Marshall, 2013, and quote, a national holiday should act as a container of collective memories of something which has special significance to persons within a particular geographical place. End quote. And Madam Presiding Officer, this is what the holiday ought to do. To serve to remind us about the unity and courage of a Tobagonian in the past, present, and future drive towards social, economic, and cultural development. This holiday should aid in the construction of a national identity while fostering national unity and social cohesion, and it is the perfect measure to find ourselves as Tobagonians without losing relationships with our Trinidadian counterparts. Madam Presiding Officer, I would like to pull the rug from beneath the minority one time, because I know they may question, why a national holiday? Why not something like a monument or a plaque placed within James Park, Scarborough? Well, Madam Presiding Officer, as my grandmother used to say, common sense make before book sense. And let's be honest, when it comes to maintenance, we have serious problems. We usually place structures and turn a blind eye to corrosion and degradation, which will worsen, especially during this ongoing climate crisis. Apart from that, I would like to pull the rug from beneath the minority once more, because I know they are probably thinking, this is just a day for Trinbagonians to stay home from their government jobs, or just another day for students to stay at home from school. But I beg to differ. Gone should be the days where Tobago Day is known as Snack Plate Day. This day, December 4th, should be used as a day where the public gather to obtain information which can be passed on from one generation to another. This can be done through interactive measures like a lifestyle museum for the general public, and the implementation of quizzes and spoken word competitions for students. This day can even aid in boosting local tourism, as our Trinidadian counterparts should be able to tour the Tobago Assembly Legislature, because how many persons can really say that they have stepped foot in a building that is approximately 200 years old? These persons can then post TikToks and Instagram reels, which can create a domino effect as it pertains to tourists' visits across Tobago. With that being said, Madam Presiding Officer, all crab find their hole, and the role of the minority today should be to support the majority towards making Tobago Day a national holiday. Thank you, Madam Presiding Officer.
Honorable members, the question proposed is, whereas the celebrations that marked the inauguration of the reconstituted Tobago House of Assembly took place on December 4, 1980, and whereas a motion was later carried in the House to celebrate the inauguration as Assembly Day, and whereas the name was changed to Tobago Day to represent the true importance of it being a celebration for the entire island, and whereas the celebration remains relevant today. Be it resolved that Tobago Day be made a national holiday to reflect the importance of the island's internal autonomy. Member for Roxborough Argyle, Assemblyman Tiana Winchester.
Pleasant good morning, esteemed presiding officer, distinguished members of this legislative house, esteemed judges and the media. Thank you for the opportunity to debate today. I will now commence. Tobago is a day candidate to celebrate the inauguration of the Tobago House of Assembly, which occurred on the 4th of December 1980. With Tobago Day, the leaders are hoping to implement and strengthen and reaffirm Tobagonians' cultural identity for social cohesion. I quote from the Honorable Chief Secretary of the THA, Mr. Fali Chavez Augustine, "As an island, we can celebrate Tobago Day to the extent that the country pays attention. And the country recognizes that there is a need to celebrate Tobago and all of its cultural upbringings, and all of the complexities that constitute being Tobagonian. Is there not a need to celebrate Trinidad? As a twin island in our national anthem of Trinidad and Tobago, it specifically states, "Side by side we stand." This emphasizes the unity and solidarity between Trinidad and Tobago. How can we stand firmly and sing the national anthem when there is a holiday going directly against that? How are we to say that Trinidad and Tobago is a country, that we are sister islands, when Trinidad is not even being taken into consideration when such big decisions are being made? Is being Trinidadian not as important as being Tobagonian? If it is, why is the proposed action appearing to contradict this? The introduction of Tobago Day will exacerbate existing divisions between Trinidad and Tobago. By singling out Tobago for a dedicated day of celebration, this could intensify perceptions of unequal treatment or favoritism. The focus on Tobago's distinct identity will overshadow the unity that both islands contribute to the nation as a whole. I quote yet again from the Honorable Chief Secretary of the THA, Mr. Fali Chavez Augustine. "As an island, we can celebrate Tobago Day to the extent that the country pays attention, and the country recognizes that there is a need to celebrate Tobagonian and all of the complexities that constitute being Tobagonian. Is there not a need to appreciate Trinidad and all of its cultural upbringings? Is being Trinidadian not important? How is Tobago Day benefiting Trinidad and Trinidadians? One must ask themselves what the real purpose of Tobago Day is. Is it to gain validations from the countries around the world? Is it to separate Trinidad from Tobago? Or is it to further spend unnecessary money that the hard-working taxpaying citizens of Trinidad and Tobago needs? Furthermore, according to the dictionary, by definition, a social gathering is an enjoyable activity held to celebrate something. But clearly, this memo was missed. I recall vividly from my days in primary school. The annual Assembly Day, which had been celebrated since 2003, December the 4th. A day filled with excitement as snack boxes and juice were distributed among all the students. It was an event etched into our memories. However, when Assembly Day was changed to Tobago Day in 2015, it had appeared as though those cherished snack boxes mysteriously disappeared. You know how excited I was for those snack boxes? Imagine my disappointment when suddenly they vanished. The question lingers, where are the snack boxes? The absence of such a celebrated tradition raises questions. How did an event, once etched into our memories and was marked by tokens of enjoyment, suddenly fade into obscurity? The transition from Assembly Day to Tobago Day seems to have cast a shadow over the cherished practice, leaving behind a noticeable void. The absence of the familiar snack boxes begs an inquiry. Is this disappearance an act of negligence towards Tobago? Instead of designating a separate day for Tobago, a day for inclusive celebrations that promote unity between Trinidad and Tobago by integrating Tobagonian culture into existing national celebrations throughout the year, celebrated by the shared heritage of both islands and their diversity, by embracing inclusive festivities that represent the collective cultural richness, fostering unity while highlighting their unique traditions. What's more, according to the motion, it states that Tobago be made a national holiday to reflect the importance of the island's internal autonomy. What is a national holiday? A national holiday is a holiday celebrated throughout a nation.
Member, your time has expired.
Madam Presiding Officer, I beg to move that additional speaking time of 2 minutes be given to the member to finish your presentation.
Members, the question put is that an additional 2 minutes of speaking time is given to the member to finish her presentation. All in favor say aye. Aye. All against? Member, you may continue.
Thank you. So, majority, I ask you, please help me to understand how Tobago Day can possibly be a national holiday when Trinidad and Tobago are one. How can Tobago Day, a day being used to celebrate Tobagonians and their culture, be a national holiday when Trinidadians are being excluded? How can we have a national holiday for only Tobago when Trinidad and Tobago is one nation? Tobago Day will look as though we are imposing a level of superiority onto Trinidadians. We need to take into context that we are part of a nation. Official for both islands. Additionally, how is Tobago Day benefiting Tobago's internal autonomy? How is a national holiday supposed to fix that Tobago relies on Trinidad for numerous resources and finances, such as water, food, oil, and gas? The income that is generated on the island of Tobago is not enough to sustain it. So how is a day of celebration supposed to fix these issues at hand? We are putting the cart before the horse. In conclusion, we need to consider a balanced approach regarding Tobago's Day celebration and carefully assess the potential impacts on national unity and perceptions of division it might create, while embracing a narrative that celebrates Trinidad and Tobago's shared culture to better achieve the goal of fostering unity in diversity. As I end this debate, I would simply like to add that every day is Tobago Day because it's every day that we embrace our culture as Tobagonians. Thank you.
Member for Darrell Spring Wim, Tayshawn Joseph.
A pleasant morning to our presiding officer, esteemed judges, and to you, my fellow colleagues. The member for Lands Municipality via Speyside said this morning, we have difficulties maintaining our monuments, but how can we maintain essence of our heritage if maintenance of these monuments can't happen? But I digress. We have been told that a country expresses its appreciation for a region, race, and religion by etching its name onto a national holiday. We have been told that a national holiday is the pinnacle of commemoration, an occasion to pause and contemplate the influence, religious significance, and history of the group whose name graces that day. We have been told, pause. Why is it that we allow these things to be drilled into us? Is it that they believe that we as a people will accept anything as long as it sounds nice enough? As long as it sounds nice enough? Can we not look and observe that a national holiday is not what they ought to paint it to be? What if I were to tell you, my fellow colleagues, that a national holiday is nothing more than a lifeless monument? My fellow colleagues, do you know that Trinidad and Tobago boasts proudly of its status as a land of national holidays with an impressive 18 holidays per year? Madam Presiding Officer, I am not here today to solely problematize this instinctive urge to distribute public holidays like grub at lunchtime. I am here to commend and propose what is and what could be. Let us sidestep this political self-aggrandizement known as the national holiday. Madam Presiding Officer, drawing inspiration from the Bishop's High School model, crafted from the Social Sciences Department, Tobago Day has the potential to redefine the concept of national commemoration. Tobago Day, as experienced in my school, whiteboard markers and worksheets are set aside, or students become crab and goat racers on the quadrangle and limbo dancers in the hall. Or classrooms are filled with immersive memories, becoming learning hubs to make sugar cake, dance the brushback, and play the cutter. We traverse halls adorned with faces and history of those who came before us. We peer into classes with archaic technologies like the joking board and mortar and pestle. To be honest, we all look forward to these holidays, an opportunity to isolate us, whisking us away from our jobs and schools to rest and lime. Madam Presiding Officer, the truth is, the only holidays that mean something to us are the ones in which we actively participate. Independence Day and Republic Day, we are expected to stand at the side and watch and wave. Envision with me a Tobago Day in the future where every school mirrors the Bishop's High School model, where every class becomes a capsule for immersive memories. Now let's imagine on a broader scale this in our divisions and communities. Envision with me the potential for an improved tourism product. On this day, tourists can walk the streets of Tobago alongside Tobagonians and learning, embracing, and enjoying their authentic selves. Because every day is Tobago Day. I thank you, Madam Presiding Officer.
Councillor Donna Lassou. In the absence of Mr. Su, I would like Member for Signal Hill Patience Hill, Assemblyman Ayana Clark.
Madam Presiding Officer, members, judges, and distinguished audience, pleasant good morning. To start, I would like to simply emphasize that every day is Tobago Day, as it is every day we embrace the enriching and unique contribution this island, its people, and culture make towards the wonderful heritage of our nation. With that said, I will commence with today's proceeding. In commemoration of the establishment of the Tobago House of Assembly in 1980, a resolution was passed on that December 4th be designated as Assembly Day and to celebrate it as a day to honor the Tobago House of Assembly. Nevertheless, in 2015, a motion was proposed to change Assembly Day to Tobago Day. Madam Presiding Officer, this was not simply a matter of renaming the holiday, but rather a shift in focus. The initial goals of appreciating the Tobago House of Assembly and its role in the developmental thrust of the islands was replaced with the overarching mission of celebrating Tobago and its distinct culture. I do not intend to downplay the significance of the Tobago cultural heritage. However, as my colleague has rightfully pointed out, that being a Trinidadian is just as important as being a Tobagonian. As stated in 1980 by the President of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, I quote, "A means has been sorted so that the two islands of the Caribbean may stand side by side and not one behind the other," end quote. However, this statement is being overlooked. As citizens of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, we ought to be proud Trinbagonians rather than one island taking presidency over the other. As I ponder the proposed change in the name of Assembly Day to Tobago Day, I can't help but focus on the term relevant as it was used in the motion. According to its definition, significance is significant for something to be relevant. If Tobago Day were indeed such a critical aspect in a national consciousness, then why is it that the general populace seems to be unfamiliar with it? Through my statistical studies at Signal Hill Secondary, I found that not a single student was aware as to what Tobago Day was. So how can this holiday's relevance be upheld when its existence is obscured to the wider public? It is truly a mystery how the history of Tobago Day was lost in the vast expanse of social studies courses despite my diligence as a pupil. I can assure you that I have never skipped a class and have paid close attention to all of my lessons. And yet I have not encountered a single mention of Tobago Day. As a nation, we take pride in our English teachers and their lessons. However, the application of the word relevant was seen to be misused in this context. While Trinidad and Tobago is acclaimed for its stunning beaches and rich cultural heritage, we are also renowned for having numerous holidays celebrated in our country. However, is adding another holiday, especially one that exclusively celebrates one island, the right way forward? Wouldn't this simply impede productivity and cause yet a discord between the two islands? Instead of yet another holiday, we need to encourage an increase in productivity, especially in the islands of Tobago. To enforce a national holiday that celebrates one island could lead to potential uproar, or as the old saying, you're adding fuel to the fire. As raised by my colleague, can we truly celebrate Tobago Day when we have not secured autonomy? Tobago is reliant on Trinidad, which means that Trinidad must also be involved in this national holiday. My question for the majority is, how can Trinidad be integrated into this holiday when it appears to put Tobago as the forefront? Will this day be used to honor and embrace Tobago's cultural heritage, or will it simply be a means for people to have yet another day off and have a lime? Let's not forget that we belong to one nation, and we should make decisions that benefit both islands and our peoples, not just the subset. Let's come together to celebrate the achievements of the Tobago House of Assembly and our shared cultural heritage. While this may not be a national holiday, it provides us a day to reflect on the importance of the Tobago House of Assembly and the history that the Twin Islands have come together to form our great nation. Without any disturbance in our productivity, our cultural aspects are unique and adorned by persons all over the world, and it would be an excellent opportunity for teachers to educate the pupils on the significance of Tobago Day and our cultural history. And as I close, I'd love to say that how we are proud Trinbagonians, united in our pride and gratitude for our islands, that it has to offer. Thank you very much.
Member for Belgarden Glamorgan, Assemblyman Zaris Moore. In the absence of Ms. Orr, we will now have Assemblyman Alik George, member for Bonaccord, Crown Point.
Pleasant morning, Madam Presiding Officer, to you, fellow Assemblymen, and to the audience both here physically and online. The motion put on the floor is and has been one of much importance and heavyweight for years, and has been debated time and time again by many on this floor for just as much time. To Tobago, I say, happy birthday to Awi. I hold the firm and unwavering stance on the topic of Tobago's autonomy and right to be recognized as a capable body able to handle its own affairs. In essence, this is what this debate is about. Tobago has long been injusticed by the hands of the central government for decades, and this has been no hidden fact. Politicians and ministers alike have neglected Tobago's autonomous development, constantly shutting down bills and motions. Our own Mason Hall boy, who we thought, when elected for Prime Minister, would have been championing the cause for us, but this was a thought in vain. Social prejudices that should be left outside of lawmaking are instead carried into the chambers and written into those bills that we Tobagonians eventually field. Not so? As stated by the Chief Secretary, Farley Augustine, during a private event on Independence Day, I quote, "Trinidad and Tobago is still very much an incomplete project. It is difficult for me to stand here to give a toast to the nation being hosted by the THA Assembly Legislator and standing in the presence of seniors in the THA who served before I was born, and not highlight the fact that as a country, one of the things we must still work on is ensuring there's equity and justice in the constitutional framework that will ensure that Tobago gets the best kind of autonomy that it needs." End quote. As Tobagonians, we can be thought of as one of the minorities in the grand scope of Trinidad and Tobago. Many minorities have their own national holiday. Think Emancipation Day for the Africans, Indian Arrival Day for the East Indians, Shouter Baptist Liberation Day, Eid al-Fitr, Corpus Christi. These are just but a few examples. Textbooks don't do us much justice by their biased incompetence to acknowledge the culture of Tobago. As my fellow colleagues prefer, I would like to emphasize that Tobago has many different twangs and dialects that can be heard in every single village of Tobago. We have our own internationally recognized dances, unique tasty dishes that we can boast of that leaves every single tourist licking their fingers wanting more and planning their next trip back to Tobago. Our own arts, such as the ever-entertaining speech band, and then cool-down spots like the nylon pool. The point I'm trying to stress is that Tobago has its own people, its own culture, and its own traditions. We have been making laws and having house meetings before Trinidad could ever dream of doing so. We have had men of great standing produced right here in these lands, such as the great Victor E. Bruce, who was the longest-serving central bank governor, A.N.R. Robinson, who was the only person to ever be Chief Secretary, Prime Minister, and President of the Republic. And just to mention too, our esteemed sportsmen like Claude Noel and Dwight York, who represented us with much pride and made Tobago a household name. So, are all these accomplishments paltry? Trinidad and Tobago, as a republic, celebrate their birthday, being allowed more freedom on August. Trinidad and Tobago, as a republic, celebrate their birthday, being allowed more freedom on August 31st. So, isn't it a given that Tobago celebrate their allowance to make more freedom also? Giving example with Borrow Day, Point 14, where many Tobagonians flock to join the celebrations, I want you, members of the opposition, to ponder on this. Madam Presiding Officer, I would like to compare Trinidad and Tobago to a family with children. Every other child has their birthday celebrated and their accomplishments recognized. But Tobago is a child that even if his birthday is known, it is not recognized or celebrated. Shouldn't everyone in the family be able to join in and celebrate Tobago's birthday? Happy birthday to we. Happy birthday to we. Happy birthday, dear Tobago. Public holiday for we. In closing, I hope all the points I have made today tickle your mind, Madam Presiding Officer, and members of this House. I hope, beg, and beseech that you will see that change is needed now for the future of Tobago. I fully endorse this motion, Madam Presiding Officer. Thank you.
I will now call on Assemblyman Clark to present for the House. Assemblyman Patrice Austin.
Us in the way that the Tobago House of Assembly intends for it to be. And I quote from the Secretary of Health and Social Services, Claudia Groom-Duke. She said, making Tobago Day a national holiday can provide an opportunity for Tobago to make and reaffirm the cultural identity of this nation. But this has to be done properly. I'd like to inform you, she also said that Tobago, the Executive Council, has given us a week to perform activities such as decorating public buildings, also to give the Straw Park complex to let their clients and their stakeholders be serviced and showcased. But has this really been the case? Madam Presiding Officer, I have a question for the opposition through you, if you would allow me. Honorable members of the majority, can you tell me the Tobago House of Assembly colors? Can you tell me the colors and the significance? Well, I'm sure they cannot. I will explain for you. Allow me to educate you. Green represents the fertility of Mother Nature. Blue represents the oceans that our ancestors sailed through to get to this great island. And yellow represents the sun provided by God Himself. Allow me to make this abundantly clear. Tobago Day may benefit Tobago. However, it has to be done properly. There are many steps that need to be put into place, such as starting with education, historical and cultural awareness, and most importantly, securing of finances to fund all these grand ideas the Tobago House of Assembly has for schools. At the last Tobago Day, Scarborough Secondary School received 250 lunches for a school of over 900 students? Is this the right path to bring awareness to a great day such as this? Ladies and gentlemen, the opposition will try to fill their heads with fancy ideas about patriotism and solidarity. And are we on? But how can this be when most have no idea what we own and most do not care? I remember last Diwali, students were happy it was a holiday, but they did not know what holiday they were celebrating. Is this what we want for our Tobago Day? Is this what we really want? Let's not be, never see, come see. Let's not get gladdy and make hasty decisions. Stop, reflect, and plan. There are many things that has to be put into place before we make this day a national holiday. We want to be proud of it and be proud of being a Tobagonian. We do not just want another holiday. We want it to mean something. Remember that when the opposition is trying to convince you. Madam Presiding Officer, I thank you.
Member for Boko, Mount Pleasant, Alyssa Smart.
Madam Presiding Officer, thank you and fellow members of this chamber for allowing me to speak. Today, I stand in support of the motion, be it resolved, that Tobago Day be recognized as a public holiday. Many may ask whether another holiday added to our already long schedule would make sense in the grand scheme of things. To put to rest any fears and misgivings of those on the other side, let me base my arguments on 3 points: the origin of Assembly Day, its significance to the average Tobagonian, and the continuing struggle for our autonomy and self-determination. The celebration of Tobago Day started in 2003, and it celebrates the current incarnation of the Tobago House of Assembly through Act No. 37 of 1980. It is noteworthy that the motion for the observance of Tobago Day be tabled by the then Chief Secretary, Mr. Orville London, in 2003, and another motion for the renaming of Assembly Day to Tobago Day was laid by the then leader of Assembly Business, Assemblyman Claudia Groom-Duke. The main focus of Tobago Day is to bring into focus not just the Tobago House of Assembly, but the uniqueness of the island as a whole. It must be noted that while we are a unitary state of Trinidad and Tobago, we as an island are different in many ways. We were fought over no fewer than 32 times by the powers of the day, and we were never colonized by the Spanish, as Columbus only sighted Tobago. He never set foot in it. We also had our own legislature and constitution, which meant that we had the power to make laws. As a matter of fact, the first incarnation of the Assembly dates back to 1768, located in the then capital, Georgetown, making us one of the oldest assembly-type governments in the Caribbean. Our culture is unique in many ways. Our Trinidadian neighbors are fascinated by our harvest festivals, where each village takes turns in entertaining perfect strangers to their homes, allowing them to eat and drink to their leisure at no cost to them. Our wakes, the vigil kept the night before a funeral, is a sight to behold. We even talk differently. Our Charlottesville brothers and sisters, savagery of the word house comes to mind. It is still the island where in many a rural neighborhood, villagers will help a neighbor construct a house foundation for free. Just some food and drinks and the promise that the favor will be returned in due course. So, the essence of Tobago Day is to allow each Tobagonian, whether here or in a country near or far, to appreciate what a Tobagonian, and more significantly, what it means to be a Tobagonian. So more than just a day where one can stay away from work, Tobago Day should be a time time to reflect on our past struggles, a time to reflect a long overdue back pay of historical justice that is more than 100 years overdue. As mentioned earlier, the Assembly in its first incarnation was located in Georgetown in 1768 before it moved to its present location. For almost 100 glorious years, we were the masters of our own destiny, as it were. We made laws, we had thriving economy. As a matter of fact, the saying, as rich as a Tobago planter, was common in those days. Then it happened. The colonial power of the day saw it fit to disband the Assembly and join us to the neighboring islands of Tobago in 1889, before delivering its final blow to our dignity in 1898 by making us a ward of Trinidad. As a result, we lost the right to our own self-determination. Fast forward to the 20th century when Mr. James Bigot and Mr. APT James started to advocate for our own self-determination. By 1977, Mr. A.N.R. Robinson and Mr. Winston Murray tabled a motion in the National Parliament advocating for our right to govern our own affairs. Coming out of this was Act 37 of 1980, which gave birth to the Assembly as we know it today. This assembly was inaugurated on December 4th, 1980, which is why we celebrate Tobago Day on December 4th each year. However, it must be said that we still have a very long way to go on this road to self-determination. Despite stiff resistance in some quarters, which has resulted in Tobago not being given its just due, we soldier on, the resilient people that we are. Despite the fact that our autonomy is but a political football at election time, we soldier on. This is why December 4th should be more than just a day to stay home from work, which my opponent no doubt think it is. It should be a day to reflect on our historical justice, our uniqueness as a people. To celebrate our heroes and our culture, heroes like A.N.R. Robinson, Calypso Rose, Lord Nelson, and many others too numerous to mention. The day December 4th should be made a public holiday, as it allows all of us as a people to look back on this momentous day in history so that
Madam Presiding Officer, I beg to move that an additional speaking time of 2 minutes be given to the member to finish his or her presentation.
Members, the question put is that an additional 2 minutes of speaking time be given to the member to finish presentation. All in favor say aye. All against say nay. You may continue.
The day December 4th should be made a public holiday, as it allows all of us as a people to look back on this momentous day in history so that when future generations ask about its importance, we can proudly boast that this is Tobago's day. Our day to reflect on our unique history and identity as a people. Our day to celebrate our culture and our heroes. And last but not least, our day to remember and reflect on our struggles on this long, hard journey towards our long overdue self-determination. Madam Presiding Officer, thank you.
Member for Bethesda, Bethel, New Grange, Esther James.
Madam Presiding Officer, wait. I want to ask the opposing team, are they even proud to be Tobagonians? Tobago has struggled long for its sovereignty and the establishment of the Tobago House of Assembly. This is the day that the new Tobago House of Assembly was established, gaining Tobago responsibility for those areas outlined in the Schedule 5th. Our past Prime Minister and President, the Honorable A.N.R. Robinson, led the campaign for internalizing self-governance. This achievement should not be just remembered as a day. When people hear the word day, they think, well, they pass it over, it's just a day. But when they hear holiday, a sense of importance comes to mind. They would like to know why it was made a holiday. It should be commemorated and remembered by declaring Tobago Day a national holiday. Together we are strive, together we achieve, as our motto so rightly says. Tobagonians' way of life is so different compared to Trinidad and other countries all around the world. Around Heritage Time, complete strangers come together as one. That is so remarkable, really. Each and every village is so unique. Family traditions are passed down from generation to generation. Sociologist Ralph Lincoln has defined culture as, I quote, the way of life of a people, end quote. We are famous for our togetherness as a people, trying to preserve our local heritage and being able to formulate our own laws as relating to our people through the mediums of the Tobago House of Assembly. This achievement should be celebrated as we are able to see where we have come from and where we are going to be in the near future. Madam Presiding Officer, I say, let us preserve Tobago Day. Let us reserve it as a day, not just a day, as a holiday. Thank you.
Councillor Donnie Lesueur. In the absence of Ms. Lesueur, we'll have Jabari Darlington, Bagatelle Bacalet.
Madam Presiding Officer, members, esteemed judges, and the audience, good morning. Assemblyman Tiana Winchester asked a question that caught my attention. How can we have a holiday for Tobago when Trinidad and Tobago are one? Trinidad and Tobago is regarded as one country. However, we as Tobagonians are always left out of major decisions that are being made and are always limited to what we are able to do for ourselves legally. Before being amalgamated with Trinidad in 1889, we had 2 houses of parliament and autonomy over our own land. Where has that power gone? In the past, our waters in Tobago were used illegally by fishermen of another nation. And due to the fact that Tobago House of Assembly has no say in foreign affairs as stated in the 6th schedule in the THA Act, we cannot help our own fishermen who were directly being affected by this problem. However, that battle is for another day. What is Assembly Day? Assembly Day, also known as Tobago Day, is held on December 4th annually to commemorate the re-establishment of the THA in 1980 and its contribution to the island's development. In 2015, the focus was expanded beyond the Assembly to the entire island of Tobago and renamed Tobago Day. In 2010, Assembly Day celebrations were implemented by then Chief Secretary, the Honorable Orville London, who said the day should also be used to highlight the contribution to the development of Tobago over the years. Why should Assembly Day become a national holiday? There are several reasons why. Tobago's cultural significance. Tobago has a rich cultural heritage that is distinct from our sister isle. It is known for its vibrant music, dance, cuisine, and traditions which deserve recognition and celebration through a national holiday. This would help preserve and promote Tobago's unique cultural identity for generations to come. Tourism promotion. Tobago is a popular destination known for its stunning beaches, lush rainforests, and diverse marine life. Designating a national holiday for Tobago would attract more tourists and boost the local economy. It also would provide an opportunity to showcase Tobago's natural beauty and our cultural offerings to both domestic and international visitors. Historical significance. Tobago has a rich history that includes colonial influences, battles, and revolutions. By designating a national holiday, Tobago's history can be honored and remembered by all citizens of Trinidad and Tobago and the world at large, creating a sense of pride and unity. Empowerment and autonomy. By having a national holiday, Tobago would gain a sense of empowerment and autonomy. It would allow Tobagonians to express their unique identity, aspirations as a separate island within the Twin Island Republic. This would foster a greater sense of self-determination, local self-determination. Community building. A national holiday for Tobago would provide an opportunity for the local community to come together and celebrate their shared heritage. It would strengthen social bonds, foster community participation, and promote belonging among Tobagonians. I believe the minority may be thinking, the Tobago Heritage Festival allows all that I have stated previously. So why do we need our very own Tobago Day? It is a fact that Tobago heritage is celebrated in multiple different parts of Tobago on different days. But is there any celebration on our sister isle? With the implementation of Tobago Day, we are graced with the opportunity to showcase all of our heritage in Trinidad on our very own special day. Also, instead of multiple locations, we can have one big celebration on both islands, which would cause greater camaraderie and wider showcase our rich culture. Overall, designating a national holiday for Tobago would recognize its cultural significance, promote greater tourism, honor its history, empower its people, and foster community building. It would serve as a platform to showcase Tobago's unique offerings and contributions to the overall development and well-being of our prestige island. Thank you, Madam Presiding Officer.
Member for Lambo Lowlands, Assemblyman Shemay Caesar.
Good morning, Madam Presiding Officer, fellow Assemblymen, esteemed judges, and our viewing audience. I fully support the motion before us. Let me first start by saying it is an honor to be able to speak in front of you, Madam Presiding Officer, as well as all these young assemblymen. Madam Presiding Officer, I would love for all of us to say this word with me: celebration. Am I to think that those in the minority are against celebration? Am I to think that the thoughts of achieving achievements make them uneasy? I would like to inform those in the minority that Tobago understands the value of celebration. It is for this reason we have Tobago Heritage Festival, Jazz Experience, and Blue Food Festival. We love to celebrate. You can even ask Mr. Hutcher Charles about Ring Bang. At least he got the celebration concept right. We, the majority, echo the vibration of the soul of the Tobago people. Let us celebrate. Tobago has proven that we can govern ourselves, so why can't we have a holiday to show how far we've come? A public holiday is an established way of celebrating freedom.
We have Emancipation Day that represents the freedom from slavery. We have Independence Day and Republic Day representing freedom from the bondage of colonialism. We in Tobago have required some freedom, and it is worthy of being celebrated too. We must never forget where we have come from. My grandparents from Roxborough had to make trips to Trinidad to do basic business, but today I could walk in any office and get things done. Thank God for the Tobago House of Assembly. This freedom is worth celebrating. Let us push for the full self-government by next year's Tobago Day so that we can have the public holiday. We will have even more freedom and even more reason to celebrate. Madam Presiding Officer, a public holiday will give us the space to really celebrate. A public holiday will provide the latitude for the platitudes. A public holiday will give us the space to embrace, give us room to bloom, give us the sparkle to dazzle, removes the veil so we can truly exhale. With a holiday, so much more is possible. Tobago Day currently has scattered moments of acknowledgement. I wonder if people actually remember the day. We go to work and to go to school. With a holiday, we can have parades through each village. Tambin Square flooded with old Tambin music and fireworks in Tobago West and Tobago East. With a holiday, we can give every THA worker the space and another $1,000 to spend time celebrating Tobago. According to Mr. Donald Trump, as he said, if you're going to think anything, you might as well think big. So I say, let's go big. A public holiday it is. I want the other side to just stop for a moment and consider that according to the Newsday article on the 21st of March 2023, TNT is the only country in the world that celebrates a public holiday for the spiritual Baptist faith. The government chose to celebrate their freedom. Tobago has many reasons to celebrate. Let's be the only island in the world, the greatest little island, to celebrate Tobago Day. I can see it now. The plain laws of Tobagonians coming home for Tobago Day like Thanksgiving. Madam Presiding Officer, celebrate. I say, let's celebrate. A public holiday will give us the opportunity to celebrate. Let's celebrate. My fellow assemblymen, let's celebrate. Madam Presiding Officer, thank you.
Good morning, Madam Presiding Officer, jury, and you, the audience. Firstly, I want to say thank you, Madam, for letting me speak and explain my justification and backed up reasoning on why Tobago Day should not be a holiday. Why must we as a people get a holiday to celebrate without having or knowing or learning any historical background behind Tobago Day and when it is celebrated? For the audience and to the opposition to really know what Tobago Day is, however, it is supposed to be a day celebrated on December 4th every year to commemorate the re-establishment of the Tobago House of Assembly in 1980. While this is good and well, how can this justify the outrageous amount of national holidays Tobago has? Madam Presiding Officer, Trinidad and Tobago has officially of a range of 16 to 20 national holidays. Not only adding a national holiday is unnecessary, it can also cause an issue with disruptions of the schools around the island. Many of you, like the old generation, sing the chorus, there are too many school disruptions occurring throughout the school terms. Do we as a people really want to add some causes of youth being lethargic and dull, like a knife no one wants to use because they're deemed as useless? What about the funds needed for this holiday? Exorbitant fees already spent on carnival and other celebrations, and we are to blame for this. It is us who will suffer the backlash. In the Tobago Express article that was updated lately on October 6, 2023, the estimated cost that was said by the division was $12,590,660. This is a shocking cost for one out of our 16 to 20 holiday range. Through speaking of costs, this cost presented government workers to struggle with receivable payback and some individuals waiting for their salaries. Is this cost really ideal for this additional holiday we want to add? Instead of having a whole holiday, madam, why don't we do something constructive with it, like having school events and lectures so students can be educated on the significance of the day? Making this day a meaningful day, not a simple day or for some. However, Madam Presiding Officer, jury and audience, after all that is said here today at this honorable house, let us not get distracted from the truth. Making Tobago Day a national holiday is not a high probable at this point in time. We simply are not ready. We need to ensure that school systems is not heavily distracted with events. Programs are needed to be taught, and most importantly, funds are needed for any events that may occur on this holiday if it passes through. But Tobago Day is every day. Tobago Day must be celebrated every day. However, once again, thank you, Madam Presiding Officer, for listening to my speech.
Member for Scarborough Mount Grace, Assemblyman Sohila McCool.
Madam Presiding Officer, distinguished judges and members of the public, good morning. Member of Bagatelle Bacolet, he mentioned that Tobago is always left out. But Mr. Darlington, I encourage you to pay special attention to what I have to say. Emile Durkheim, in his functionalist approach to society's formation, contends that national holidays play a vital part in fostering a sense of identity through social integration. Today, I choose to pay special attention to a key phrase in his elucidation, a sense of belonging. Let's illustrate this in a way all Tobagonians can understand. A man is laboring to build a house alongside his brother on their family land. Both contribute to the construction of this house, each providing necessary materials to build this house. Madam Presiding Officer, I ask this question to my colleagues through you. Who has more claim to this land? The answer is both, as both can rightfully call this place home. The idea of needing a holiday granted by the central government to validate our sense of belonging in our country is nonsensical. Do you think that our smaller size diminishes our significance? Answer me this then. Is the right side of the heart, which is smaller than the left, less important? Does the right side need validation from the left? It is time for Tobago to discard this foolish sense of inferiority. We do not need validation from our equals. Let me repeat, because they seem not to pay attention. We do not need validation from our equals. Madam Presiding Officer, we are man and woman in our own house. Let's be honest, in this country, national holidays have been used time and time again as pawns on a political chessboard. Have you ever heard of a one-off national holiday? In this sweet land of Trinidad and Tobago, we have two in our history. the first people's holiday on October the 13th, 2017, as well as the Chinese Arrival Day on October the 12th, 2006. And how could we forget that between 1999 to 2001, Republic Day was stripped of its national holiday status, and it was not until 2002 that the holiday was reinstated. Should we permit them to bring politics into a holiday that speaks to our very essence? This administration might endorse it. But what if the next administration declares it unnecessary as a waste of as a squandering of state funds? What repercussion would that have? What narrative would they be crafting about our identity? Today, my colleagues, I urge you not to give them that power. Do not forget the wisdom of our elders who explained that belly full man is still hungry, got man keep heart. Those in positions of power sometimes pacify you, dangling trinkets like public holidays to distract you from the real issues. While we grapple with a measly allocation of 4.3% of the national budget to pay salaries, to sustain our operations as a nation, we are here debating the gift of a national holiday. Without a doubt, they would give it to us and encourage us to persevere instead of facing the real need, the need for autonomy, the need for an increase in the national budgetary allocation. Let it be known, Madam Presiding Officer, that we reject the notion of a national holiday. We stand ready to say no. Keep your national holiday. We will take autonomy any day. Let us show them that our backs are broad and that we can lead our great little island. Let us show them that we do not want a one-off holiday, because as we say at Bishop's High School, every day is Tobago Day. I thank you, Madam Presiding Officer.
Chief Secretary, you may now wind up the debate.
Thank you, Madam Presiding Officer. As the old people used to say, penny wise but pound foolish. Basically meaning that this minority is just here to make noise by being wise in trivial matters, only to be foolish in more important ones. Well, today, Madam Presiding Officer, I am here to say that Tobago Day, in it being, yes, losing its relevance, children not celebrating it, people not celebrating it, that is not our fault. It has not been taught to our kids, it has not been taught in schools why it should be national, why it should be important, why it should be relevant to this day. So as I have given before, reasons what we can do and how we can make it relevant again, but I guess the minority was not paying attention. I say today, this motion was not used as means to separate ourselves from Tobago or from our Trinidadian counterparts. As I indicated before, the minority is just here to bring bacchanal and confusion. And the member of the minority who spoke about snack plates, well, it's clear she's just here to study her belly. I guess. Tobago was fought over the most, over 30 times. They didn't fight for any part of Trinidad at all. Even as a small dot on the island, Tobago still had its international relevance. We still had our meaning. Well, if we start if we start celebrating Tobago Day once again, giving it purpose, giving it meaning, giving it importance to the citizens of Tobago and even Trinidad, we can bring back the historical meaning behind it. Well, Madam Presiding Officer, yes, we have over 18, probably 18 or over 18 holidays. This holiday is not like the others. It is to show that Tobago has earned its rights, as a country has earned its rights apart from Trinidad. Yes, we are one. Yes, we are twin islands. But Tobago must have its say in what we do. Trinidad is just trying to control us. And like I have pointed out, we can do many other stuff than just make it a national holiday. We can have lifestyle museums for the general public, implements of quizzes and spoken word competitions. Like, what's her name? Like my member of the minority said, the holiday, instead of a holiday, we can do that, but I have already stated that already. But I guess you want to pay attention, so. Okay. The day, Madam Presiding Officer, December 4th, should be a day where the Tobago people, even the Trinidadians, maybe, can celebrate our rights, our freedom, and our day as our country. And, Madam Presiding Officer, as I close, I would like to say to the minority, side by side we stand to make this motion a reality, to make Tobago Day a national holiday. Thank you, Madam Presiding Officer.
Honorable members, the question put is, whereas the celebration that marks the inauguration of the reconstituted Tobago House of Assembly took place on December 4, 1980, and whereas a motion was later carried in the House to celebrate the inauguration as Assembly Day, and whereas the name was changed to Tobago Day to represent the true importance of it being a celebration for the island of Tobago, and whereas the celebration remains relevant today, be it resolved that Tobago Day be a national holiday to reflect the importance of the island's internal autonomy. All in favor say aye. Aye. All against? Aye. The ayes have it. The motion is carried. Clerk.
Motion for adjournment.
Madam Presiding Officer, I beg to move that this House stand adjourned for a date to be fixed. Thank you.
Members, the question is that the House now stands adjourned for a date to be fixed. All in favor say aye. Aye. All against say no. The ayes have it. The House now stands adjourned for a date to be fixed.
Programs coordinator here at the Assembly Legislature. You all look absolutely wonderful. And we're going to have a closing ceremony in a short while, but we wanted to have a break because the judges need some time to deliberate. So we're going to put some music on so that you can wait. Feel free to have discussions among yourselves, and we'll be back shortly. Thank you.
Wait,